All right. So, Tony, let me start this off with our
Yeah.
deep dive. I have a
Absolutely.
question for you.
Yeah.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 18 says to pray at all times in the Spirit. All right. As we talked about on Sunday, but how do I actually know if I'm praying in the Spirit? What does that mean?
Yeah.
How do I know that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So prayer is given such vital importance in this part, right? We've been talking about putting on like those tools that we need, right, to battle against the forces of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, when we get to this point, within the context of all those weapons that are listed that we need to put on from a spiritual standpoint, Paul tells us to remember how important prayer is. That's why he says this in there, and it's easy to miss. He says to be in prayer and remember to be alert with all perseverance. What he's basically saying there is we need to be awake, or as students say today, we need to stay woke. Right, that's a big word that they use, right? What does that mean? That we need to be alert. We need to be aware of what's going on around us. We need to be aware of what's going on in our country, what's going on in our churches, what's going on in our homes. That's probably the most important thing. What is happening and how can we be praying? Because if we're not aware of those things, how are we praying? Are we even praying for things? Or is it just something that we do when we have some time? So I think that's just so vital. And I put here that just like a soldier needs his tools and training to be successful, that soldier also needs instructions, and they depend on that person that's going to lead them into battle. And in the same way, when we go to God and we pray in the Spirit, what we're saying is, God, we depend on you, and we need to go ahead and move forward no matter what the outcome may be. And we're going to depend on the fact that you're listening, that you understand, and that you're going to act. And it's really interesting. If you go one verse before, in verse 17, it says that literally that the Spirit is associated with the sword and the word. So when you look at that and you put that together, ultimately when we're praying, what we're doing is just like when we wield a sword, we're wielding the Spirit. In other words, we're wielding God's power to actually act, and we depend on that. So I think that's what it means, that when we pray in the Spirit, we're depending on God, and He is going to do something. And we pray with our entire heart and our soul and our minds, and whatever the outcome may be. I think you said it well on Sunday. I think you said that we're involved in prayer, right? I think that's the way that you said it. Yeah. And when it comes down to it, that prayer is not about us, but we're involved in it. So I think that's what I think of when it comes down to praying in the Spirit, being alert of what's happening, and then trusting in God to do something about it. So
that reminds me, Tony, when we talk about praying in the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, understanding, all of those fruits, those evidences of the Spirit, praying for God to act, and then saying, Lord, I want my heart condition to be the fruit of your Spirit. Because if the Spirit indwells us as believers and we're walking in the Spirit, those are the types of attitudes that He's going to create or reveal in us. So praying in the Spirit, with the fruit of the Spirit, looking for God to do great things is a huge, huge, huge part.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.